The idea of You may seem like a simple romantic comedy, but there is actually a deeper meaning behind it, such as the watch and this painting. So if you haven't seen it, the movie is about the romantic relationship between Solene, who is a 40-year-old woman who has been struggling with her work and personal life, and Hayes Campbell, on the other hand, is a 24-year-old pop star that's in a band called August Moon. Now, our story starts with Solene, where she was planning to go on her own vacation, but had to cancel it in order to take her daughter to Coachella after her ex-husband bails on her at the last minute. So this is where she unexpectedly meets Hayes in the backstage, while she was looking for a bathroom and accidentally gets into his trailer. And what sort of begins as a heated flirtation quickly grows into a full-fledged love affair. Now, we first see the watch here in his trailer, as he was rushing to change his cloth into his stage outfit, and we hear his publicist telling him to show off his silver watch when he performs on stage later on, which is actually a watch he got from his latest endorsement deal. So this is sort of a clear moment where the watch is introduced as part of his carefully cultivated image and lavish lifestyle. However, it quickly takes on deeper meaning when Hayes tracks down Solene at her Los Angeles art gallery after their encounter at Coachella. And here also, we see him wearing the silver watch. So after he bought everything in her gallery and learns a thing or two about art as well as this painting, which we will get into in a bit, he joins her for lunch at her house in Silver Lake. But things turn from easy flirting into something much more real and vulnerable, where Hayes opens up about his fear of being considered a joke, and Solene about the terrible moment she discovered her husband was cheating on her, and they end up kissing. But she suddenly stops and tells him to leave. And this is where Hayes leaves his silver watch behind, which is a move by him so that she would continuously remember him. But it's also a sign of trust and vulnerability. It's the first indication that he is starting to remove the polished look of fame in order to open up his true self to her. And then, when Solene decides to take Hayes up on his invitation to visit him in New York for a date, she deliberately keeps the watch on. And that night, as she undresses for their first sexual encounter, she removes everything she had worn except the watch, which is a sign of surrendering herself to him. So as their relationship deepens, the watch becomes some sort of relationship totem that they pass back and forth, almost like leaving a possession behind with the other as a promise to continue their taboo relationship. But when she hears from his friends that he does this with every woman and that she's not really special, she removes the watch and leaves it behind, subconsciously renouncing everything she had thought was real so far. So, after the paparazzi floods the internet with news of their relationship and the secret gets out, Solene's friends and daughter sort of encourage her to pursue Hayes. And even though their relationship goes well for a while, the internet hate and abuse become too much, especially when things start to impact her daughter Izzy. So even though Hayes is truly determined to give their romance another chance, despite the intense public scrutiny and backlash they face, he once again leaves the watch behind as a sign of affirmation of his commitment to Solon, promising to meet in 5 years. And the importance of the watch is even more apparent by the ending. So after 5 years have passed, Solene watches Hayes perform on the Graham Norton show, and when asked where he plans to go, he says Los Angeles, since there's someone he wants to see, and in the end, he show up at her art gallery. So even though 5 years had passed, it's as if time had stopped for the two when he left his watch with her. Now, beside the watch, we also see this painting in different scenes in the movie. Now the painting is done by one of Solene's friends, and it seemed to have significance to the story. So, when Solene first shows the painting to Hayes, he asks her what she feels when she looks at it, and she says everything. Now, later on in the movie, when Solene breaks up with Hayes, he describes everything he feels for her, but she tells him that she don't feels the same way about him. We also see the painting in her house later on after he brought it for her, so this shows that she kinda means everything to him. Also, when Solene later comes back to his studio and apologizes, she admits she also feels everything with him, which is another reference to the painting. Now, overall, the movie is good, but I was expecting it to be a bit controversial after we saw what happened with Miller's Girl. There was also certain things that were a bit rushed and doesn't make sense, like the part at the beginning when she took a trailer for a bathroom seems a bit stretched. Also on the airplane, when he introduced her as his art consultant, and everyone just sitting there like they don't know her was a really bad writing. I mean, they all had met at the Coachella and even talked, but besides this small details, overall, the movie seems to be good.